Okay, hello Nanda.
Hello.
So welcome everyone. You're welcome anytime to pose whatever questions you have. You can pose them by writing them in the chat box or by simply speaking your question. So I want to welcome you. The welcoming is a welcoming from the self to the self. So it's a self-welcoming. It is not a welcoming from one person to another person. It is the welcome that is our true nature. Our true nature is a welcoming. It's an openness that is effortlessly and naturally, one could say, welcoming. An effortless yesness, the yesness which is peace, the peace and tranquility, the bliss of the self, the recognition that I am that I am thou, and that in this recognition there is just one reality, which is the reality of consciousness, the reality of presence, which is referred to as love, as peace, as bliss, as happiness, as recognizing everything and everyone as my true self. So the welcome is welcome to yourself, welcome to your true self. This welcoming is the destination, our destination, meaning our destiny is the recognition of our wholeness. This does not mean that we become whole, but it is a recognition of our inherent wholeness, our inherent universality, our inherent infinity, our inherent eternity. So we do not move from state A to state B, or from a bad state to a better state. It is not this sort of journey. It is not a journey from state to state. It is a simple recognition, but a deep recognition, not simply a mental understanding, but a deep understanding that I am this wholeness, I am awareness, I am consciousness, and that the consciousness and awareness that I am is not personal, is not contained in any body-mind event, is not defined by any body-mind event. So I welcome you from I to I. Whatever questions you have, whatever you would like to contemplate or clarify or explore or share, you are welcome to do so. Ananda, hello Ananda. So you're right, the doorway to Sahaja, natural effortless samadhi, is recognizing the bliss that is always present, that is so simple. Any comment of practice of this? Okay, just a couple of words about Sahaja Samadhi. The Sahaja Samadhi is the ultimate recognition of our universal nature, a recognition that no longer comes and goes. In other words, not a recognition that is no longer affected by vasanas, by tendencies and habits and patterns that we have inherited in our forgetfulness. Just want to clarify that that is the Sahaja Samadhi. That's what Sahaja Samadhi refers to. So Ananda, you say the doorway to Sahaja Samadhi is recognizing the bliss that is always present. It is so simple. Any comment of practice of this? Yes. The comment about Sahaja Samadhi is that in this recognition, there is no recognizer, recognizer that remains. So it's a recognition in which the recognizer dissolves in the recognition. The recognizer is ended, let's say, in this recognition. There is no longer an impression of a recognizer and a recognized. So as long as there is still a trace of a recognizer and recognized, there is still the pre, let's say, it's not the Sahaja Samadhi that you pose in your question. There is, of course, the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which is the recognition that I am consciousness. But the Sahaja Samadhi is the recognition that I am consciousness and everything is I. That everything refers to I. There is no longer an object-subject relationship. So once you understand what I'm saying, you will also come to the understanding that that is the end of practice. Because practice refers to a practicer, a method that is being practiced, and a certain objective of the practice. But the Sahaja Samadhi is the end of practice. So in terms of my comment about practicing Sahaja Samadhi,
No, it's not. The question isn't practicing Sahaja Samadhi. It's practicing awareness of ever-present bliss as a river delta going into the Sahaja.
So how do you practice enjoying? How do you practice enjoying playing the flute? I know you love playing the flute, which is really very beautiful. I've just really enjoyed. But how do you practice enjoying playing the flute? You don't practice enjoying playing the flute. You just it's a non-mind. It's the enjoyment of the play is non-mind. It's non-mind. If there is still mind, there is still a trace of an intention. Yeah. So the Sahaja Samadhi is no longer the streams going to the delta. What is it you said? The streams going to the
the delta, the river delta going into the ocean.
Ocean, yes. It's no longer the river delta going to the ocean. It is the ocean. So Sahaja Samadhi is the ocean, but it is the ocean with the ending of rivers. There are no more rivers coming to the ocean. Yes.
So I guess if it was if you could say practice at all, it's a very subtle practice, but it would be a practice, and maybe the word practice isn't even appropriate, but like awareness of awareness or being or bliss is it supersedes the whole ego, the whole concerns of a self, of a self, and the the spinning out of the or the reinforcing of the idea that I'm separate and I'm.
Yes, there can be no bliss and a personal self.
Yeah.
They do not coexist.
Mm-hmm.
When there is a personal self-impression,
Mm-hmm.
there is a contraction of the wholeness. Let's say a contraction in a way. I mean, I'm just putting it metaphorically. It's a contraction of the bliss into pleasure and pain.
Yes, limited.
So it's it's either or.
Yeah. So this is something that Ted said, and just in a conversation with him, and I jotted it down because I liked it so much. And I thought,
Well, say
oh,
some.
this is a reminder. This is such a simple reminder.
What is a reminder again?
Oh, the reminder that awareness of the blissfulness that's ever present is, I don't know, maybe an alternative to any kind of spinning out of stories and stuff.
I understand. Okay.
It's like you hear the news, whatever happens to be on the news, or whatever local news or personal news comes. Like you said, it's either or. Yeah.
So okay. Well, obviously, happiness is free of misery. Yes?
Yeah, you're right.
So it's a simple recognition. I mean, here we are right now. We can easily recognize that happiness is free of misery, and that's thumbs up, right?
Yeah, right.
No, in our contemplation, that's relatively simple understanding that the unhappiness of me versus you, me and my life, and what's going to happen to me, what happened to me yesterday, what's going to happen to me tomorrow, that aspect of the mind is not what opens the heart. It's not what rejoices. The rejoice is peace, understanding, openness. Yes? So that's a simple recognition. And as a result of this recognition, in our contemplation, we, let's say, we learn to discriminate between thoughts that lead to unhappiness and thoughts that are void of the sense of duality, which are celebratory thoughts or creative thoughts or thoughts that are contemplative thoughts. While the thoughts that, let's see.
There's a camera problem of some sort.
Okay, let's see, one moment. Okay, while the thoughts that are rooted in the sense of identification with the body mind, that I am me and you're you out there, and let me see what I can get out of you. Hopefully you like what I say and you flatter me and whatever, okay? That dynamic is really is unhappy. So this discrimination is an important discrimination that in our journey we develop, and in time, effortlessly, we do not go further along that road. We just say, okay, I've been there, done that. I know what's next. What's next is I'm depressed because he doesn't like me, or I'm depressed because, oh gee, I didn't say the right thing, or I didn't get the promotion because my happiness was depending on promotion. So in time, we learn to not water those thorny weeds. Yes. And so it's a process of more a process of not doing than a process of doing. It's not a process of contemplating happiness. But of course, you know, on the other hand, as a consequence of our ceasing these to identify and to sort of feed these thoughts of I am this body, mind, and you're a separate consciousness. As a result of ceasing to walk down that path, there is peace. There is peace and happiness and tranquility that results. Right, and then we find ourselves celebrating, sort of rejoicing in this peace, because there is a contrast that we experience from the previous unhappiness.
Right.
Okay. It may be a good idea to mute your mics for now. So there is a contrast that you experience from the previous, unhappiness as we're experiencing the peace. But in time, we're experiencing less and less often the unhappiness, and the unhappiness that we're experiencing is smaller and smaller. It's like, it's not a big thing, and less and less frequent. So there is less and less of an experience of the contrast. A good metaphor of what I'm trying to say is this fellow who was, I think maybe I shared this metaphor before, is this fellow who's walking around carrying a backpack full of stones.
I've read that somewhere, yeah.
So he's walking around carrying 50 pounds of stones, and he's been living like this for years. And then one day he meets a friend. He tells him, "Hey, what are you doing with this backpack? Why don't you put it down?" So the fellow puts down the backpack of 50 pounds of stone, and as soon as the weight is off, then this person feels like they are flying and jumping, and they're so happy. They're like, "Wow, I'm so happy! Just look at me. I can look at big steps. I can jump. I can bend." Yes, but a month later, a friend of the same friend that told him to take off the backpack runs into him in a cafe. He's having a cup of tea or whatever. He says, "Oh, hello. How are you? How are you doing? How are you doing?" He says, "Oh, I'm doing good. How are you?" I have to wants to ask, "How are you?" "Yeah, good. How are you?" It's no big deal anymore, you see. So,
yeah.
So
the friend who told him to put down the pack, he's the guru. He's the guru. It could be.
That's a friend, yeah.
And then eventually you say, "Oh, hi, good to see you."
Yeah, right. So, right, good to see you, right. But the point that I'm trying to make is that happiness is our natural state. I use the word state, but I don't mean like a state in time and space. No, I'm talking is our true nature. The true nature, the self, is happiness, is peace and happiness. So yes, you contemplate like Ted was telling you, you contemplate the bliss of the self, but the bliss of the self is our natural state, as long as you are watchful. You're watchful of not continuing to pick up the bag of stones. I am this person and all my history and my future, hopes and so on, and then the peace and happiness becomes your natural state. And in time, there is really nothing left to recollect, you see. But of course, it's good to recollect God, to recollect truth, to recollect our universal being, until this recollection is no longer recollected, it recollects itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's very beautiful when the recollection is recollecting itself, because you're just in the celebration. It's like it's a celebration and just a very lovely contemplation of joy, freedom, happiness.
Right. That idea that that there's no one even to recognize the bliss, or there's no subject object.
Yes.
I'm just probably the crux of this question or issue is really that.
Can you repeat that, Anda?
Yeah. Perhaps the crux of interest to me is the fact that you know how in Vedanta it's said that when the rope is burned, there may be a ashes that looks like a rope.
Yes.
So you still say I see you.
Yes, of course.
Or I feel bliss or something, and it's just
you could say, I see you, meaning I see you as myself. I see you. Of course, like when I'm going to invite somebody to dinner, I'm going to invite you. I'm going to call you and invite you to dinner. But these are two different levels, you see. So you are speaking, on the level where the world body mind still is functioning. It rains and plants grow. It does not rain, and then cactuses grow. So that level is pretty simple. There isn't really much to say about it. But when we say I and you, we are, let's say, temporarily out of in the dream conversation, utilizing this language. But that's not to be confused with the experience of the Sahaja Samadhi. The Sahaja Samadhi, there isn't a me and you. Yeah, so I don't see you. I don't see you. Actually, seeing is, what is it that sees? I mean, what is seeing? I mean, what is seeing? What is, not what is it that is seeing, but what is seeing? What is seeing? What is seeing? Do you understand the question? What is seeing?
What is seeing itself?
What is seeing? there's still mentation in seeing, which is okay. I mean, it's okay, but it's still mentation.
Well, it tends
Mentation is not truth. You see, mentation is mentation. It's fine. It's a passing. It's what we are talking about.
Yes, yeah.
Doesn't have that quality of seeing.
Right.
So seeing is before the recognition of the self. Let me just put it another way. In the recognition of the self, it goes beyond seeing. It goes beyond the me and the you.
Oh yeah, yes. Seeing implies perception and a certain type of activity, which is a little bit of a step out.
It's mind. What we refer to as mind. It's the viveka, the discrimination is crucial in the Advaita, in the contemplation of non-duality. Discrimination does not mean better or worse. Does not mean good and bad. Discrimination is simply it's a recognition of what is mind and what is reality. So world, body, mind refers to perceptions, sensations, and mentation. Perceptions, worldly perceptions, bodily sensations, and thoughts, memories, etc. That's mind. That to be discriminated from reality. Reality is that is not mind. That all mind events refer to the reality that knows them. We say that knows them refers to the reality. There isn't even actually knowing them, but in the conversation, in the teaching, we use that knows them, but then it goes beyond anything, knowing anything else. So for example, like consciousness is what perceives as perception. Because this perception is not possible without consciousness, right? I mean, this very perception right now that you're perceiving is not possible without consciousness or awareness, right?
Right.
It's not possible. But then the perception itself and the consciousness that knows the perception are not apart. There isn't a distance. There isn't any distance between the perception and the consciousness that knows this perception.
Yes.
There isn't any distance. There's zero distance. So there isn't actually anything that is perceiving. There isn't like a consciousness that is perceiving perception, because being at zero distance, there isn't any more object to subject relationship between consciousness and a perception. You follow?
Yeah. And what you said, what you posed that question, what is seeing? It's like a koan almost. It's so profound, because
absolutely.
What is seeing? Well, there is no what. There's seeing. But you could say that seeing itself is
there is seeing, but is there seeing? So
what is perception itself, or what is seeingness itself, or what is
right? That's when you contemplate perceptions or thoughts, because we also perceive thoughts, we also perceive bodily sensations. You come to consciousness.
Yes.
You because the perceptions, they're changing. So, but yet there is a reality that knows them. This very perception right now that's constantly changing is a reality that does not change.
Yes.
Which we refer to as presence or awareness or I or Atman. What? Yeah?
Yeah.
So the question, when we are contemplating what is perception, what is a sensation, what is a mentation, we come to understanding that there is a phenomenal event that's changing, but there is an unchanging quality, which we refer to as I. So all world, body, mind events, when you contemplate them correctly, you come to consciousness. You come to the knowing of that does not change, which is peace, causeless happiness. Yeah? That is not defined, that it defines but is not defined.
When it's said that all phenomena point, or perception point to consciousness, that's kind of an interim thing, isn't it? That's for a position where you're sort of on the fence between what is it?
Yes, because
and it points to consciousness.
Yes, correct.
The story. If you're not watering the weeds, like you said, the prickly weeds, then it's no longer a realm of interest, in a sense, that's pointing to something better. It's just, I don't know what it is.
There isn't any judgment in that. It's just in this contemplation, there isn't, a worse or better. It's just that it's a contemplation of what is happening. What is this that is happening? And as you contemplate what is this that is happening, whether you're contemplating thoughts, perceptions, or meditations, you're going to come to realize that there is a reality. All of this points to a reality that is unchanging. That's the reality of consciousness. And then that is sort of your first understanding, that I am consciousness, perceiving whatever. This perception, the bodily sensations, the thought about my mother or my country or my grandfather, whatever. Yes? The further contemplation is that, in fact, I am not perceiving any world, body, mind. I, meaning consciousness. Because we came to this conclusion that I refers to consciousness. I am not perceiving a world, body, mind. In fact, I am perceiving myself, because the world, body, mind that I'm perceiving is at zero distance from the awareness that knows it. In other words, in your night dream, when you are dreaming of the Himalayas, or if you're dreaming of some distant planet, that dream that you are dreaming is not apart from you, the dreamer.
Right.
Its substance is you, the dreamer.
Right.
So you arrive to the one reality, which is the reality of consciousness, and no subsequent reality, no other reality but the reality of consciousness. So consciousness, being the one reality, does not know anything, because to know something means reality A needs to know something B, or something else, A, B, C. It has to know something, but it does not know anything. So if you refer to the night dream, when you are dreaming of rivers and lakes and butterflies and elephants and God knows whatever you're dreaming of, it is not that you are knowing your dreams. Your dreams are, in fact, they're made out of you.
Yes, you're not knowing a something. You're not knowing something.
And upon waking up, you recollect, oh, gee, I dreamt of pink flying elephants, you see? You recollect that. But when the dreams are arising, there isn't any subject-object relationship. It's a metaphor. It's metaphor.
even
just
though
to come back to your initial question about the Sahaja Samadhi. Sahaja Samadhi, it is the complete ending of subject-object. So you cannot talk of objects, you cannot talk of subject. So if you cannot talk of subject and you cannot talk of object, then you remain with what is it that's speaking right now? Is there any speaking right now? What is that? Where does the question arise from? What is it that's asking a question? What is it? Who is it, or what is it that is on a journey? From where to where?
Yes, there's a certain agitation in any of those ideas being having a reality.
You have to check it out. You have to see for yourself. You have to see for yourself.
My sense is there's a certain agitation, so to speak, that's generated out of nothing, like a dream out of nothing, when those concepts are meaningful. You know, I have a question or whatever.
You know, in our night dreams, you are agitated when there is a lion chasing us and may catch us, for example. Yes, but there is a sense of, you know, a sense of imminent danger, and that sense of imminent danger is because of the identification with the body-mind.
Right, a dream body-mind, in fact.
Yes, in the night dream, it's a dream body-mind, and in the waking dream, a waking dream, a waking dream body-mind.
Yes.
But so, what is it that that is identifying with what? And this is, we need to look at that. And what is it that I'm identifying with? When you say I'm identifying, for example, with the body-mind, or with the body, which is very simple, then you need to contemplate in your experience. What is this body? What is the reality of this body? Not what is this body in how, you know, how I'm defining it. What is the reality of the body? And when you contemplate the reality of the body, you're going to come to consciousness. I mean, we can do it now if you want to, but we've done it many times together, you know, in Satsang. But you know, we can do it again. But when you contemplate what is the reality of the body, you come to consciousness, because you come to the reality. What is the reality of any perceptions, of any thought, of any sensation? Because body, our experience of the body is 95% sensation. I mean, yeah, there is.
Along those lines, is something that's occurred to me during this conversation. Is I remember, you know, when we were in Costa Rica and had those sessions of letting the tension out, letting the tension dissipate back to space. Now, when I think of to do that, there's some utility to it, so to speak, but for the most part, it seems like it's just a almost like fun thing to do. I mean, and I wonder if you if there's, you know, there's a body, you know, to whatever degree there's a body mind. Maybe you know, you sit at the desk too much and there's something that needs to be let go. You know, a tension in the neck or whatever. But it doesn't. I'm thinking that for you, it's probably not. I need to let that go so that I'm free of the vasana. It's a different level, would you say?
Okay. Just for the other friends who are in this satsang or who are watching on YouTube, what Ananda is referring to is a certain yoga that we do during the retreats, which we did in the retreat in Costa Rica. And just to go over it, and maybe it will be addressing your question at the same time, Ananda.
I think so.
So the yoga is not, which is basically to contemplate. Let's see, one moment. Okay, make sure you mute your mics, please. To contemplate the feeling state.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain exercises that aim to, let's say, experience the body as its natural state of borderlessness,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and to experience what we refer to as feelings as their natural state, which is basically sensations floating in space.
Mm-hmm.
And to sort of, in a way, like return the body and give the body a taste of its natural, free, borderless, open state. Yeah. These exercises, Ananda, are not meant to release a certain tension in your body because you've been sitting too long at your desk, or because you've been driving for too long, or because you've strained your back, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're not meant at all
Mm-hmm. I
for
think
that
I can see what you mean.
purpose. There are, of course, many other practices, yoga centers, hot yoga, steam yoga, whatever, swimming
Go for a
yoga,
swim.
etc., that you could do for to alleviate stress and to release some tension in your body. The yogas that we do in the retreat
Can I say something there? It's like a misappropriation, misassumption that's lodged in the body, something like that. But
see, the body stores certain positions and certain tensions that are connected with the belief of being a person. Over time, the body has stored so many different positions and contractions, energies in the body, that the accumulation of which is the sense of being this body. So the natural state of the body is unidentified. And these identification are add-on. They're add-on. And the body stores these identities, these vasanas. They store them in the belly, in the chest, in the face, behind the eyes, in the neck area, in the shoulders, and in more subtle ways in also the rest of the body, throughout the entire musculature of the body. The exercises during the retreats bring our attention to these contractions in the body. And these contractions are, in our meditation, looked at what they are, which is strictly a sensation appearing in consciousness. And so when we say release the contraction into the space, in fact, it's not really a releasing. It's a noticing that the contraction is surrounded, in other words, the contraction meaning the sensation, is surrounded with space. Yeah? And these exercises actually work at a different level than at the mind level. You cannot understand them and have the benefit of the yogas via your understanding and practicing your understanding. You don't need to actually understand these yogas. You simply do them. But I can see from your question that we need to meet again, and that we need to take another look. But we cannot take a look at these yogas just by talking about them. We have to actually be together and do these yogas. We can talk some more about that, because this question is, you know, a lot of people who are watching this don't have an idea of what you're talking about. So
I understand. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks for that.
Okay.
And go on to the next. Go on to the next questioner.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Ananda. Yes, nice talking to you, Ananda.
Hello.
John, yes.
Yes.
There is a lot of background noise, John.
Oh, is there? Okay. Okay, there's still time left?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay.
Is there a way for you to reduce background noise?
Let me see. I have a speaker. I have my earplugs in.
Okay.
Let's see.
Are you driving? Is there?
I have an engine on. I'm not driving, but I have an engine on. Let me see if I turn that up. Is that better?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. That's it then. All right. Yeah, I have a question. My question is.
There is still background noise. Is there like a construction site next to you or something?
No.
Okay.
It's I could try. I could try a different set of ear things.
Please do.
Let me try that, and if I can't do that, I'll get off and let somebody else get on. Hold on 1 second.
Am I the only person hearing this?
Okay. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Is it better or not?
A little bit better.
A little bit. Well, let's try. If it doesn't work, it's fine. I'll get off.
Why don't you pose your question, and then I can mute you and I can answer your question. And you can.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. My question is, I would like to know your experience or how you experienced this waking up, this I guess what I'm asking is, I heard you mention something about, the bag and this and that, and eventually there's less and less, I guess one could say, thinking involved with the person and, the me stuff going on. And I guess what I'm saying, there comes a place where that's pretty much a lot less, if not non-existent, at one point. And does that get expressed somehow, or was that expressed for you in some way, or how did you realize this or experience that? Does that make sense?
Not sure. I will do my best to answer what I thought I understood.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to mute you. Okay, good. Okay. Maybe it was just me. Did anybody else hear that background noise?
It was terrible. It was like being inside a washing machine.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Well. Okay, John. Let me see if I understood your question. Something about my experience. You wanted to know about my experience of the sense of self diminishing. Can other people help me with the question? Is that's what I thought I understood? What did you hear, Ananda? What was your understanding of John's question?
Magdi?
Yes, John, I hear you.
Is it better sound now?
Yes, great.
Well, I unplugged the ears, and so I don't have any ears on, so I'm just, maybe that's what it was somehow. Who knows why?
Thank God.
Anyway, my question really is to share your experience of how that expressed for you, dropping the me, and how that expressed in your life.
Well, it's it's a simple question.
Yeah.
It's expressed as just a peace, love, beauty, understanding, and a fascination. It's fascination with everything. It's just a fascination, a freshness, and somehow my life has become sweeter and sweeter in all aspects. It's not. It was sort of an effortless process, and so the way the revelation of the self is expressed is as love, peace, happiness, bliss. Does this address your question, John?
Well, actually, yeah, I didn't bring the part that, because really what I'm exploring here too, and is the idea of those words. Those are words: peace, love, so forth and so on. But I'm sure there's a spontaneous action and stuff like that. So I'm kind of, it's
the action, John, doesn't matter. What matters is the source of the action.
The what? I'm sorry.
What matters is the source of the action.
Yes, yes.
Not the action.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because where the action comes from.
Yes.
If the action is coming from the mind, if action is still coming from me and you,
yes,
then that action has a virus in it. And that action cannot be happy or lead to happiness. It's the action that arises from happiness, from peace, from well-being, from the recognition of the self, from the recognition of our wholeness. It is the source of the action that matters. So when you look at whether you're looking at somebody who is in ignorance or somebody who is not in ignorance, you may not discern from their action overall, and you may not discern from an action what the source is. You don't know. But It's being in the presence of somebody who is not in ignorance, that you can sense, you can recognize and sense the peace, the happiness, the bliss, which is echoing within yourself. It is not their peace, their happiness, their joy. It's not like that. Joy, peace, and happiness are the quality of consciousness, of truth, of reality. That I am. I don't mean I, Magdi. That I, universal self. That we call Magdi, we call John, we call Steve. Doesn't matter what we call it. You see?
Yes.
So the recognition of the universality of the self cannot be perceived by the actions. And yet, overall, when you stay around somebody who is realizes self, you will feel the peace, the happiness, the bliss, the contentment, the wisdom, the well-being. And overall, their actions would be, I would say, they will reflect an understanding, they would reflect a compassion and a sense of wholeness. But they may close the door onto someone who may be unknown. And you may come to the conclusion, oh my goodness, that's what I did last week, or that's what this other person who is very, very annoying and a pain in the butt, they acting the same, you see. So what I'm emphasizing to you is it's not the action that really matters. Of course, having said that, until it is very clear that that is the case, then you do your best to practice benevolent action. In other words, to take in consideration not just yourself, but to contemplate that the other is also yourself. And you do your best to act from that understanding.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was remembering what you had said to somebody else as far as benefiting the whole. So in other words, actions benefiting the whole and so forth and so on. And yes, and that can be a part of,
Yes.
in a way, a practice in some sense.
Because you love, John, you love being in relationship with somebody who, in their action, also consider your well-being and your benefit, not just theirs. Yes. That's true, right? Yes.
Sure,
right.
Of course.
And you are the other, so you can do that.
Yes.
You can, in your own life, not just with others, but even with yourself, to look at yourself, not as John, but as this consciousness.
Yes.
That everybody experiences. Our experience is the experience of consciousness, not of objects. Objects is an add-on.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's why.
Did I lose you, John? I think I lost what you were saying, John. Okay, I think we maybe.
Magdi.
Yes. Hello. Yes.
Hi. I'm sat in the dark. I'm enjoying
Hello.
it.
Yes. Who is it?
Yeah. about effort.
Okay.
I'm really aware of lots of efforting going on, meditation, efforting to be kind of, I don't know, mindful of how the mind's working, but it's getting quite tiring now. I'm fed up with the efforting. Have you had any advice for this?
Oh, but efforting, yes, yes. I'm sorry, who is talking?
It's Leanne.
Leanne. Okay, Leanne. Okay, okay. Hello, Leanne. Okay, what sort of efforting are you referring to, Leanne?
Well, I can really, I can relate to this 50-kilo bag. This is how this sense of me feels like. And, it's like I feel like a dog chasing its tail. You know, me is trying to get away from me, and it's kind of a circular movement, and it feels like so much effort, and I just kind of.
Okay.
The whole me thing is an effort, isn't it not?
Okay, Leanne,
Trying to
excuse me
convey
if I
something.
maybe mispronounce your name. You know, body-mind that you experience arises, this me that you're referring to, arises as feelings, as sensations, as thoughts that you don't like, right? I mean, many of them you don't like.
Yeah, mostly. Yes,
But,
true.
yes, right. Let's say, but before you're not liking them, okay, before you're not liking them, they arise to you in a neutral fashion. They arise to you like a stormy sky arises to you, or a thunderstorm arises to you. They arise they have a neutral quality to them. It is really important that you, before getting into how you feel about them, to contemplate that they arise as a neutral appearances, completely neutral. And what is neutral cannot hurt you. So I invite you not just to place your interest on fixing the me or getting rid of the me or getting to a better me, which I understand. I'm with you on that. But I invite you, rather than continuing in this wheel of that keeps turning and turning, trying to improve the me or get rid of the me or get beyond the me, to contemplate that whatever arises to you that is a me or not me, whatever arises to you, its first arising is completely neutral. Can you do that?
Yes, I can. Yeah, definite.
That's what I am inviting you to do.
Yeah.
Because until you recognize, even a small recognition, that whatever is arising to you cannot hurt you, cannot harm you, until you realize that, you will continue to have the impression that what's arising can hurt you, can harm you, and you have to do something about it because, hey, that there is danger here, and I need to do something about it, and I need to do something about it now. So that process gets deeper and deeper rooted in your psyche as, oh my goodness, here it comes again. Here it's coming to me again. I've been trying so hard. to get over these feelings, to get over this perception, to get over this sense of me that's arising. And it's coming at me again. I need to double and triple and quadruple my effort. And the more you exert more and more effort, the deeper you entrench this impression that something may harm you, something may hurt you, something is coming at you, something is creating an imminent danger to you. So contemplate that whatever arises at its root, at its before we add on our stories and our histories, it is completely neutral. Meaning, cannot touch you.
Okay.
And that, Leon, requires no effort. It requires simply being, let's say, still and trusting what is being shared with you right now. Trusting that you can be still, and in the stillness recognize that what is arising has at its core a dream quality. I know that a dream lion is not so much fun, especially when it's coming at you, but it's a dream lion. That this image of you, this negative image of you, is just an image. That these thoughts about what people are thinking about me or what's happening to me are just a thought. You see? And that what you are is awareness. Because there has to be an awareness of this me impression. Because the me impression without awareness wouldn't even be. There has to be something that is conscious. There has to be some consciousness of this me impression. What is this consciousness? Is it not you?
Yeah.
Is it not you right now?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry. You consciousness that is perceiving these words.
Yes. Yes, and something on a level I can't explain really hears that.
Yes.
And sometimes that really touches something I can't explain. It's kind of like something, to say it kind of knows it is the wrong thing. It's in an intuitive thing.
No, yes, it is. Yes, intuitive, absolutely. Yes. Intuitively, we know ourselves as consciousness. We know ourselves as freedom, as peace. As we know that I am untouched, I am awareness. I am not some object. Intuitively, we know that because we are that. We are consciousness. I am consciousness. Not consciousness is a body. No. I refers to consciousness.
Yes.
And then there is body, mind, world, sky, friends, neighbors, dogs.
You know, Magdi, I think what's been going on lately, and I've been really aware of it actually, and it is so much intellectualism going on, you know, a little bit too much, a lot of interest in what's going on in the mind, and trying to decipher it, and I kind of feel really ready to drop that now, you know, because it doesn't seem important to the mind apart and try to understand.
Yes, the mind can be a maze. You see, it goes to the right, to the left, and then it twirls around, and then it just goes in like a labyrinth. You see, but awareness Awareness is just, it's a transparent presence. You see, that's what's beautiful about awareness is you can't hurt it, you can't grab it, you can't twist it, you can't squeeze it, you can't cut it. It's just isness. It is isness. It is beingness. It's freedom. It's just a transparent being, transparent beingness. You see, that
Yeah.
that is like right there. It is primordial experience is the beingness of presence, of consciousness. And then there is the thought of this, my mother, my grandmother, my neighbor, my dog, did I get it, did I not get it, am I improving, did I improve, oh, I was better yesterday, I'll be better tomorrow, and on and on and on, in my body, and my money, and my car, and my neighbors, and on and on. That's a maze. But,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
the maze is just images arising on the screen of consciousness. Consciousness doesn't give a hoot about what appears. If it's a sunny sky, stormy, rainy thunderstorm, supernova exploded, a volcanic eruption, peace in the Middle East, the tsunami, consciousness unmoved and untouched.
Yeah.
Recognize yourself. Recognize that is untouched by the mind, and you don't need to go down the maze of the mind to come to the I am. You don't need to move to the right, to the left, north, south in the encyclopedias of psychology and non-duality and Buddhist meditation, and you don't need to do any of that. The Christian, the Torah, you don't need to do any of that to recognize I am. You see?
Yeah. Yeah, they're all like distraction really, and something gets very interested, and yeah, you know, but everywhere you go, there you are. Yes. It's something I've noticed.
Yes, you are.
Be anywhere where I'm not.
Right, and not just there you are. Wherever you go, you are peace, bliss, and happiness. Meaning consciousness is peace, bliss, and happiness, and consciousness doesn't go anywhere. Consciousness doesn't go anywhere. Places appear.
Something.
And dissolve in consciousness, but consciousness doesn't go anywhere.
No, that's the thing.
Paris appears in consciousness. You
can look right back like a small child and think there's something that's the same. I can't put my finger on it. Something's the same as when I there's something that's not different at all.
Right.
It's the same something.
Yes, and that's
although there lots of things appear to have there's something the same.
Yes, yes, and that something is what I'm referring to as consciousness awareness, which is not a thing. You see, that's if you look at consciousness, you cannot find a female consciousness, a male consciousness, a tall consciousness, a short consciousness, a dense consciousness, a blue consciousness, a yellow consciousness, no. You see, you can find a blue couch, a green, a brown tree, whatever. But consciousness is non-phenomenal. The reality is non-phenomenal. It's beyond the phenomena. Phenomena depends on the reality, but reality doesn't depend on phenomena. You see, and you are this reality. This right now, this very moment, this perception. The reality of this perception is consciousness. And by consciousness, I mean the reality that perceives this perception right now.
Oh, that's blessed news. Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yeah. there are any questions.
Magdi?
Yes, John.
Since nobody's speaking up, I'm going to ask a question.
Yes.
I'm confused with when you say consciousness doesn't give a hoot. You know, like certain things happen. In other words, whatever appears, consciousness doesn't give a hoot. So it's not, and then you use the words, it's not moved, okay, or it's not moved or whatever. And then after that, there's this happiness, joy, beauty, love, maybe compassion, whatever. So tell me the difference. I'm confused on that. So consciousness or awareness has that, but does not have, or am I just misinterpreting that? But is not moved with tsunamis and so forth and so on. So can you explain that?
By consciousness, when we say consciousness is untouched, is unmoved by world, body, mind events, it's a good example of that is the dreamer. When you are sleeping and you're dreaming of whatever you're dreaming you're swimming in the ocean. When you wake up, you're not wet. If you dream that you've fallen and broken your leg, when you wake up, your leg is not broken. When you're sleeping and you dream that you won $1 million, when you wake up, you look in your bank account, you don't have $1 million in your account. So this metaphoric language to say that consciousness is unmoved and untouched is to point to the non-phenomenal quality of consciousness. All events and that affect each other relate to mind. Meaning, when tornado comes, the trees may topple. When the fire comes, the houses may burn. So, but consciousness is non-phenomenal. It is not affected by anything. This is an important pointer that after you've recognized yourself as consciousness, meaning after coming to the understanding that the reality of your experience is consciousness, is I as consciousness. The next contemplation is to contemplate that this I, that is consciousness, is a non-phenomenal, does not get burned, does not get wet, does not get cut, does not grow, is not born, does not die, does not go to the left, does not go to the right, is not more to the east and less to the west, is not female or male, and has therefore no phenomenal qualities, meaning it has no borders, meaning it cannot be personal. It cannot refer to any form. So that the contemplation of consciousness follows the initial understanding that the reality of my experience is I as consciousness. Now, upon the contemplation of consciousness, the physicality impression, the personal impression starts to dissolve. Because the initial revelation that I am consciousness does not remove the personal impression, because we arrive to the conclusion that yes, I am consciousness, but this consciousness that I am depends on the body. That's still the partial understanding. The contemplation of consciousness, that consciousness is unmoved and untouched and is non-phenomenal, will dissolve the impression of personal consciousness, and will remove the impression that consciousness depends on the body. Now, once that journey in the contemplation of consciousness is undergone, is underway, the consequences is that consciousness will bloom, let's say. This is a relative language because it's hard to talk of these things without using relative language, because really consciousness does not bloom. But let's say that as a result of the impression of personhood of consciousness, as a result of that receding, the perfume of consciousness, the bliss, the joy, the happiness, the freedom, the intelligence, the wisdom of consciousness will start to reveal itself, will start to shine. And at some point, it is shining full blast. So the Sahaja Samadhi is the revelation of peace, bliss, happiness, joy, freedom, intelligence, causeless peace and happiness. That revelation that no longer wavers. So the journey is from the impression of being a person to I am consciousness, but this consciousness still depends on the body-mind, to consciousness, I am consciousness, and consciousness is universal. The one reality, the reality second to none, and all is this reality. There is just the reality of consciousness.
So, Maggie, yes, it's very beautifully said. I like that. Thank you. My other question with this is, so then when, see if I understand this. So, in that, let's say, process, so to speak, then joy, peace, happiness, love, compassion, those things appear. We have to say they appear in reality because they're appearing, they're being expressed. One knows that, and so that happens even in a tsunami, and even in a storm, and even in a divorce, and even in an accident, and even this. And so one begins to know the reality is untouched. Is that what you're saying? And there's happiness.
Yes. The world body-mind events no longer affect, no longer create any unhappiness. That's the Sahaja Samadhi. The Sahaja Samadhi, no world body-mind event moves you away from the bliss of the self. But you don't need to remember the bliss of the self. It remembers itself. It knows itself.
Thank you so much. Thank you, man.
Okay, John. Nice to be with you. Any questions?
I would just like to say thank you with no particular question at this time. Thank you for being here and doing this.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your very, very lovely company. It's beautiful to be with you all. And I don't think that I'll be here next Thursday, but we'll see each other soon. Okay. Namaste, everyone.